The sound of the wind cuts through the silence of the Texas plains. The oil pumps rise and fall like beating hearts buried deep beneath the dirt. Somewhere in the distance, a man lights a cigarette, his face half hidden by the glow of a setting sun. The land stretches endlessly, dry, powerful, unforgiving. But under that land lies something more dangerous than oil. It's power. It's greed. It's survival. And once again, it's about to erupt, because Landman Season 2 isn't just another story. It's a storm returning to the heart of Texas. The fields are alive with secrets. The money is dirtier than ever, and every deal made in the dark will soon come into the light. The land remembers everything, and this time, it's coming for payback. The Texas oil fields have always been a battlefield, not with guns or soldiers, but with power, ambition, and betrayal. In Landman, every drop of oil tells a story, and every man drilling for it leaves behind a trail of dust, sweat, and regret. Season 1 gave us a glimpse of that world, a place where fortunes rise overnight and fall even faster, where one wrong deal can destroy everything you built, and where loyalty is more fragile than glass. But Season 2 promises something even more intense, a return to the chaos, the heartache, and the moral wars that define the modern American dream. The heart of it all still beats through Tommy Norris, the man who stood at the edge of success and destruction all at once. Played with quiet fire by Billy Bob Thornton, Tommy isn't your typical hero. He's not perfect, not even close. He's a man who knows the price of every decision he's ever made. He's been burned, broken, and rebuilt by the world he helped create. In the first season, we watched him navigate a dangerous balance between business and ethics, between doing what's right and doing what's necessary. But the oil business doesn't reward honesty. It rewards whoever can survive the storm the longest. Now, as Season 2 approaches, that storm is back on the horizon. The tone is darker. The stakes are higher. The lines between right and wrong have completely blurred. The Texas landscape, with its dusty roads and golden sunsets, hides 1,000 secrets beneath its surface. Every field, every rig, every man has something to lose. The power struggle that once seemed contained is spreading, beyond the rigs, beyond the deals, into homes, families, and hearts. The idea of a modern Western has never felt more real than in Landman. This isn't about outlaws on horseback. It's about oilmen in tailored suits, making deals that decide who eats and who starves. The guns are replaced by contracts, and the duels happen in boardrooms, not saloons. But the spirit of the West remains the same: survival of the fittest. Everyone wants a piece of the land, but only a few are strong enough to hold it. And Tommy Norris, with his weary eyes and steel resolve, stands right in the center of it all, a man who's lost too much to walk away and seen too much to ever be innocent again. Season 1 left behind a trail of broken promises and buried truths. It wasn't just about oil or power, and it was about people. The workers who risked everything. The families who paid the price. The dreamers who thought they could tame the land, only to realize the land always wins. Season 2 is set to take that deeper, to peel back the layers of Texas wealth and show the human cost beneath it all. The oil might make men rich, but it also makes them ruthless. Every barrel carries a piece of someone's soul. The camera will once again find beauty in brutality, the vast open skies, the endless fields, the glowing rigs standing tall against the night. But beneath that beauty is something raw and uneasy. The land is not just a backdrop. It's a living character, silent yet powerful, shaping every choice, every downfall. The dirt under your boots is the same dirt that buries secrets no one wants to dig up. That's what Landman captures so perfectly, the feeling that even when everything looks still, something dangerous is always moving beneath the surface. And now, as the second season nears, whispers start to rise. Whispers of new alliances, old debts and revenge long overdue. Tommy knows the cost of crossing the wrong man. He's made enemies who don't forgive and partners who don't forget. Every deal he signs now comes with a hidden consequence. The people he once trusted may turn against him, and those he hurt may come looking for their own justice. In a world driven by oil, loyalty is a luxury no one can afford. But this isn't just Tommy's story anymore. Season 2 expands the scope. It digs deeper into the network of greed, politics, and power that keeps the oil industry running. It's not just about survival now. It's about legacy. The land doesn't care who wins or loses. It only watches. It only waits. The true fight isn't between companies or men. It's between who can hold on to their soul while chasing the dream everyone else has already sold. In the silence of the Texas dusk, The sound of machinery echoes like a heartbeat. It's the rhythm of ambition, pumping through the veins of men who would rather die rich than live forgotten. That's the spirit Landman captures, not the glory of wealth, but the loneliness of it. The second season promises to remind us that behind every fortune lies a graveyard of choices that can't be undone. The Western genre has always told stories of men against nature, of cowboys and bandits, of justice and revenge. But Landman redefines that legacy for the modern age. Here, nature isn't the enemy, greed is. And redemption isn't found through gunfire, but through facing the consequences of your own ambition. Tommy Norris isn't riding into the sunset. He's standing under it, facing the shadows of everything he's done to get here. The land beneath him may be rich, but it's cursed with memory. Every deal, every betrayal, every lie whispered in the heat of the moment leaves a scar. And when Landman Season 2 begins, those scars will start to bleed again. The land doesn't forgive, and it only remembers. And Tommy Norris is about to find out what happens when the land decides it's time to collect its debt. It all began with a man who didn't come from power, a man who had to dig for it. One deal, one lie, one promise at a time. Tommy Norris wasn't born rich. He wasn't raised to be ruthless. But the land has a way of shaping men into something harder, something colder. Out here in Texas, oil is thicker than blood, and once you've tasted its profit, you'll never be the same again. Season 1 of Landman wasn't just the story of oil. It was the story of how power transforms people, how survival forces choices that tear your soul apart. And at the center of it stood Tommy, a man chasing success in a world that feeds on failure. When Landman first introduced him, Tommy seemed like any other dealmaker. Sharp, confident, carrying years of experience and a charm that could sell fire to a desert. But beneath that easy grin was something deeper. A quiet rage, a lifetime of being underestimated, and a hunger for control. He understood that in the oil business, you don't find the gold. You dig for it with your bare hands and your conscience. Every choice he made came with a cost. Every deal he signed came with someone's downfall. But that's what it took to survive in a world where money didn't just buy comfort. It bought silence, loyalty, and sometimes forgiveness. As the first season unfolded, we watched Tommy walk the razor's edge between success and self-destruction. Every step forward was earned through risk, through manipulation, through knowing exactly when to push and when to back off. He wasn't a villain, but he wasn't innocent either. He was something far more real, a man who knew how dirty the world could get and still decided to keep his hands in the mud. That's what made him human, and that's what made his story so gripping. The beauty of Landman is that it doesn't paint heroes or villains. It paints people. People who are flawed, tired, desperate, and still fighting for a piece of something that might not even exist anymore. Through the season, Tommy faced deals that tested not just his business sense, but his soul. Behind the scenes of every negotiation, there was someone losing, someone getting crushed under the weight of corporate greed. There were workers risking their lives for a paycheck that barely kept their families alive. There were towns built around oil that flourished and then fell into silence when the wells ran dry. Tommy saw it all. The rise, the fall, the broken dreams scattered like dust in the wind. But still he kept pushing because out here, stopping means disappearing. And disappearing means losing everything. The most powerful part of Season 1 wasn't the deals or the money or even the danger. It was the quiet moments. Those rare scenes where Tommy stood alone, looking out at the fields that gave him everything and took everything back. You could see it in his eyes. The exhaustion of a man who knows that winning doesn't feel like victory anymore. It feels like survival. Billy Bob Thornton captured that perfectly. The kind of performance where silence says more than words ever could. Every look, every breath carried years of regret, ambition, and the painful truth that once you start chasing oil, you stop chasing peace. And it wasn't just Tommy's story. Season 1 introduced us to the people orbiting his world, the partners, the enemies, the friends who turned into foes when money got involved. The beauty of Landman lies in those relationships, how loyalty turns into leverage, how love becomes liability. Tommy's world was built on trust that was never meant to last. Every handshake carried a lie. Every smile hid a threat. And as the season moved forward, that web of deception grew tighter, choking out anything pure left in his life.
The storm is back over Texas, but this time, it's darker, heavier, and far more personal. Season 2 of Landman doesn't just pick up where the last one left off, it digs deeper, straight into the veins of greed, guilt, and redemption. The oil still flows, but so does the blood of old grudges. The men and women who survived Season 1 are now standing on fractured ground, and every choice they make will decide who rises next, and who finally gets buried by the land they tried to own. This season, the stakes are higher because the lines are gone. There's no more good versus bad, only survival. Everyone has crossed a line, burned a bridge, or buried a truth too deep to dig up again. Tommy Norris is no longer just a businessman fighting for position. He's a man cornered by his own ambition. The very empire he built now trembles under the weight of what it cost him. The question isn't whether he'll win, it's whether he can live with what winning means anymore. From the first moment of Season 2, the tone shifts. The Texas sky doesn't just glow gold anymore. It burns orange, filled with smoke and consequence. The oil fields don't hum with progress. They groan under pressure. The characters walk like survivors, haunted by deals that once made them powerful and now make them prisoners. Everything feels heavier, the silence, the heat, the guilt. The audience can almost feel the dust on their skin, the tension in the air, and the quiet dread that something terrible is coming. This season promises to take us beyond the boardrooms and oil rigs into the hearts and homes of the people behind them. The conflicts won't just be about contracts or company stakes. They'll be about identity, family, and legacy. We'll see what happens when the empire you built starts to crumble from within. Tommy will be forced to face ghosts he's long ignored, not just people he's wronged, but the parts of himself he tried to bury under money and power. New faces will enter this world too, faces that bring fresh power, new agendas, and darker temptations. Some will come to save what's left. Others will come to destroy it. Every new alliance will come with a cost. Every friendship will feel fragile, built on shifting sand. And every secret kept in the dark will find its way to the surface. Because Landman isn't about how far people are willing to go to win. It's about how far they'll go to hide what they've already done. The oil industry itself becomes an even bigger character this season, unpredictable, dangerous, alive. It's not just the backdrop anymore. It's the pulse that drives every moment. The business is booming, but so are the consequences. Environmental chaos, corporate warfare, and moral collapse swirl together like a storm that no one can stop. The wells are deeper, but so are the lies. The profits are higher, but so is the price. Tommy Norris, who once stood tall and certain, will find himself facing enemies who know him better than he knows himself. The ones he thought he defeated are still watching, still waiting. And the people closest to him, the ones he trusts, may hold the knife that cuts deepest. The land he fought for in Season 1 now feels like a trap. Every time he looks out across those open fields, he'll see not opportunity, but warning. The silence of the Texas night no longer feels peaceful. It feels like the calm before something breaks. There's a growing sense that this season will explore not just power, but punishment. The theme of redemption hovers over every frame. The question isn't who's right or wrong, it's who still believes they can be saved. Because in this world, the land doesn't forget. Every action is a cost, and sooner or later, it all comes back. Season 2 is the season where debts are paid in cash, in loyalty, and in blood. One of the most striking shifts this time will be the emotional depth. Where Season 1 focused on ambition, Season 2 will focus on consequence. We'll see the human side of every empire, the cracks beneath the steel, the pain behind the power. Tommy's confidence will fade into self-doubt. His charm will be replaced by a quiet desperation to fix what's already broken. He'll fight to hold on to his influence, but deep down, he'll know the fight is no longer just against competitors. It's against time, against fate, against himself. The writing promises to go darker, sharper, and more intimate. Every dialogue will carry the weight of unspoken truth. Every stare between characters will feel like a loaded gun. The cinematography will mirror the darkness, long shadows, golden haze, and the constant tension between light, decay. The Texas landscape, once a symbol of opportunity, will become a reflection of internal collapse. Wide shots of endless land will remind us that no matter how powerful these people become, they're still small compared to the ground they walk on. And while the story deepens for Tommy, other characters will also rise from the edges of the frame. The workers, the families, the overlooked voices of the oil boom. Their stories will start to bleed through. The people who've been trampled in the pursuit of profit will finally make themselves heard. The fight won't just be between companies anymore. It'll be between those who have power and those who've been crushed by it. Landman Season 2 will make sure the audience feels every ounce of that tension. The moral conflict that defines modern America. The emotional pull of this season lies in the idea of cost. Everyone wants something, money, justice, peace, but no one gets it without losing something else. Friendships will fracture. Families will test their breaking points. Love will become another tool for survival. The moments of silence will say more than the arguments. And the smallest decisions will shape the biggest consequences. That's the beauty and pain of Landman. It shows how easily dreams turn into debts, and how quickly success turns into isolation. Taylor Sheridan's storytelling has always thrived on moral grayness, and Season 2 seems ready to push that even further. The lines of morality will twist. Heroes will fall. Villains will reveal hearts. Every character will face the question, how much of yourself are you willing to lose to win? And as they dig deeper into that question, we'll see the ugly truth that sometimes there's no line between winning and losing. There's only survival, and even that comes at a cost you can't ever repay. Expect moments that hit harder, quieter, more emotional, more human. Expect confrontations that feel real, conversations that linger long after the episode ends. Expect a sense of dread that never leaves, even in moments of victory. Because Landman doesn't promise happy endings, it promises honest ones. And in the oil fields of Texas, honesty is the most dangerous currency there is. As the season unfolds, we'll see Tommy standing at a crossroads. The man who once believed he could control everything will learn that the land cannot be controlled, only respected or feared. The storms that are coming aren't just weather. They're symbols of reckoning. The empire he built may not collapse all at once. It may rot from within, piece by piece, until all that's left is the man himself, standing in silence, wondering if it was ever worth it. Season 2 will be bigger, bolder, and more unforgiving. It won't hold back. It will expose every flaw, every weakness, every quiet truth that power tries to hide. The Texas sun will shine just as bright, but its light will reveal more than ever before. And as viewers, we'll feel it too. The weight of choices, the pull of greed, the ache of conscience. Because Landman Season 2 isn't just about oil, or Texas, or business. It's about the things we dig for that end up burying us. It's about how far we'll go to own something that was never ours to begin with. And when the season finally begins, one truth will echo louder than all the drilling and deals. You can take everything from the land. But in the end, the land always takes something back. The Texas oil fields are a world of light and shadow, a place where dreams rise from the dust, and where every drop of oil carries a secret. Landman doesn't just tell a story about business or industry. It tells a story about people, about what happens when the need to survive turns into the hunger to control, about the invisible price that progress demands. And in Season 2, that price becomes impossible to ignore. Every moment in Landman has always been layered with meaning. The land isn't just background, it's alive, breathing, watching. It holds memory. It remembers every deal, every lie, every promise broken for the sake of one more barrel, one more dollar. When the drills sink into the earth, it isn't just metal cutting through rock. It's a symbol of how deeply humanity is willing to dig, into the ground, into each other, into the parts of ourselves we wish we could forget. The oil is black, yes, but in Landman, it also represents something darker. The shadow inside us that grows with every compromise we make. Season 2 takes that symbolism further. It's not just about the fight for resources. It's about the fight for redemption. The oil boom has made some men rich, but it has also made them hollow. You can see it in their eyes, that tired, distant look that only comes from knowing that every success has a cost. The rigs, the wells, the pipelines, they're not signs of victory anymore. They're reminders of what was traded away. Family, trust, humanity, out here. The price of progress isn't just measured in dollars. It's measured in the silence between people who used to believe in something in this world. Nature and greed are locked in an endless battle. The more man takes from the earth, the more the earth pushes back. The cracked soil, the burning skies, the poisoned rivers, they're not just part of the setting. They're the earth's voice, whispering warnings no one listens to. Every storm, every gust of wind, every dying tree tells the same story. You can't own what you don't respect. But still, they dig. Still, they drill. Because power has a way of making men deaf to the things that matter most. The theme of power versus morality beats at the center of Landman. Tommy Norris stands as a reflection of that battle, a man caught between ambition and conscience. He knows the system is broken, but he also knows he's part of it. He spent years justifying his choices, convincing himself that success makes the damage worthwhile. But deep down, he knows it's a lie. And that's what makes him so human. He's not evil. He's simply trapped in a world that rewards greed and punishes grace. Season 2 will pull that truth into the light, forcing him to face the question he's avoided all his life. What's the point of winning? If you lose yourself in the process? The beauty of Landman lies in its quiet truths. It's not about explosions or big moments. It's about the slow realization that progress always leaves a mark. You can hear it in the creak of an old oil pump, see it in the reflection of a man's tired face, feel it in the heavy silence after a deal goes wrong. The show's greatest theme isn't wealth or power, it's consequence. Every action echoes. Every drop of oil pulled from the ground carries the weight of the lives it touched. Season 2 promises to make that echo louder, more painful, and impossible to escape. The land itself becomes a mirror for the people who try to control it. When it's broken, so are they. When it fights back, they crumble. The more they push, the more it demands. That's the genius of Taylor Sheridan's storytelling, the way he turns the landscape into a living, moral force. In Landman, the Texas soil isn't just dirt. It's judgment. It's memory. It's truth. And it never forgets. One of the strongest symbolic threads that runs through Landman is the idea of drilling. Not just into the earth, but into the soul. Every character in this story is digging for something: power, redemption, love, forgiveness. But the deeper they go, the darker it gets. The oil they pull up is a reflection of themselves, dark, volatile, and dangerous. Season 2 will explore what happens when the digging never stops. When you reach a point where there's nothing left to find except the emptiness you created. There's also a haunting loneliness that hangs over every frame of Landman. The wide Texas horizon stretches endlessly, but it feels suffocating. The sunsets are beautiful, but they burn with regret. The sound of the wind isn't peaceful. It's a reminder that out here, nothing lasts. That sense of isolation becomes another theme this season: how success isolates, how ambition separates, how the pursuit of power can make a man a stranger to his own heart. You can have everything: the money, the land, the name, and still feel completely alone. Family will also take on deeper symbolic weight in Season 2. In the first season, it was a background element, the emotional anchor that kept characters from drifting afar. But now, it becomes a battlefield. Every character will be forced to face what their choices have done to the people they love. Landman will ask an uncomfortable question: can you build a future if the foundation is made of betrayal? The oil may keep flowing, but love, trust, and decency, those are the resources that are running dry. The visual language of the show reflects all these themes perfectly. The light and shadows, the heat waves rising off the fields, the slow pans across the rigs at dusk. They're not just beautiful shots, they're storytelling tools. When the camera lingers on a single pump jack against a blood-red sky, it's saying something. It's telling us that every ounce of progress has a pulse, and that pulse is paid for by someone's pain. The land is never still because the past never rests. Season 2 will likely intensify the metaphor of the boom and bust, not just economically, but spiritually. When the oil rush hits, everyone runs to claim a piece. But when it dries up, the silence exposes who they really are. The boom represents the illusion of control. The bust reveals the truth. The men and women of Landman are learning that the same energy that builds empires can also destroy them. The deeper the well, the deeper the consequences. And while all of this plays out in the world of oil, the symbolism stretches far beyond Texas. It's about human nature itself. The story of Landman is the story of us, our obsession with growth, our hunger for more, our blindness, the damage we cause chasing things that can't fill the void inside us. The show uses oil as a metaphor for desire. It's dark, endless, and dangerous. We drill and drill, but we never stop to ask why. We just keep going until we hit something that changes everything. There's also redemption, fragile, fleeting, and beautiful. Amid all the chaos, Landman never forgets that people can change. That forgiveness, though rare, still exists. But in Season 2, redemption won't come easy. It will be earned through loss, through sacrifice, through facing truths that can't be ignored any longer. The land will test everyone. It will strip them bare, burn away their illusions, and reveal who they really are when there's nothing left to take. As the season unfolds, the audience will begin to understand that the real cost of the boom isn't financial. It's spiritual. It's the erosion of conscience, the decay of relationships, the emptiness that follows when success becomes your only language. The oil runs deep, but it never fills the cracks it creates. Every fortune comes with a shadow. Every victory leaves something broken behind. In the end, Landman Season 2 will remind us that the land isn't cruel, it's honest. It gives back exactly what you put into it. If you dig with greed, you'll pull up guilt. If you drill with purpose, you might find peace. The land doesn't choose sides. It simply reflects the hearts of the people who walk upon it. That's the beauty and the tragedy of this story. So, when the cameras return to those dusty Texas fields, when the sun sets behind the rigs once more, and when Tommy Norris looks out at everything he's built, he'll see more than oil. He'll see the cost of every decision, the faces he's lost, the trust he's broken, the part of himself that can never be reclaimed because in Landman, the land always wins. The oil dries, the money fades, but the land remembers everything. The story of Landman has always carried a different kind of fire. It's not the fire that comes from explosions or shootouts. It's the fire that burns quietly inside the people trying to survive the oil fields. The fire that destroys friendships, melts trust, and turns ambition into obsession. That's the fire Season 2 is ready to unleash. And if Season 1 was the spark, then Season 2 is the storm that follows. A storm that's been building in the soil, in the broken promises, and in the hearts of every character who believes they can outsmart the land. But the land doesn't forget. And in Season 2, it's coming to collect everything it's owed. The first reason Season 2 will hit harder than anything we've seen is simple. Every character is running out of time. The deals they made in the past are no longer shadows, they're consequences. And those consequences are coming fast. Tommy Norris isn't just fighting for money anymore. He's fighting for control, for survival, for redemption he's not even sure he deserves. Billy Bob Thornton's character was always the center of the storm, but this time, the storm is no longer circling him, it's swallowing him whole. He can't charm his way out of it. He can't negotiate with the damage he's done. Season 2 will force him to face something he's avoided his entire career, the truth about himself. The world around him is falling apart in slow motion. The oil market is shifting, new investors smell blood in the water, and enemies he thought he buried are digging their way back to the surface. The land is changing, the business is changing, and the people he once trusted are changing into versions he doesn't recognize anymore. The same energy that made him powerful is now the same energy threatening to destroy him. And this season will show that power isn't taken in one big moment. It slips away piece by piece until you realize you're holding nothing but dust. Another reason Season 2 stands apart is its new focus on human cost. Season 1 gave us glimpses of families struggling, workers risking everything, communities built and broken around drilling sites. But Season 2 goes deeper, much deeper. It doesn't just show the oil fields. It shows the people living inside them, their fears, their sacrifices, their shattered hopes. It highlights the workers who feel like ghosts visible only when something goes wrong. It shows the quiet pain of a family watching their home sink into the earth, because the drilling beneath it never stopped. It shows the loneliness of the men and women running the rigs at night, wondering if the money they're chasing is worth the life they're losing. That raw emotional weight is what makes Season 2 different. It's not just about Tommy's world collapsing. It's about every life connected to him, every life he touched, every life he changed without even realizing it. People who once believed in him will begin to question him. People who supported him will begin to fear him. And people he thought were beneath him will rise with their own grudges, carrying truths that could ruin him forever. season, it doesn't just challenge Tommy. It challenges every character who has been hiding behind excuses, pretending they're victims when they've been standing in the fire willingly. The next layer that makes season is so powerful is its sense of unpredictability. In season 1, Tommy played the game like a master.